So gotta grow.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, because you're not the only one. I've been getting a ton of messages lately where it's, can y'all help? Do y'all help with marketing? I need to get clients, or people are brand new and just trying to figure out what that looks like. So definitely, as we go through everything, like just keep an open mind, ask questions, any questions that you have and stuff like that for sure. But I will tell you this, even to say, yes, some of the people who are like just the individuals, yes, they're probably not looking now, but you're correct when you say the businesses are definitely looking now to start getting some of them are looking to start getting ready for 25 to be able to file their taxes when the new year comes. Some have not filed taxes for 24 yet. So there's still all sorts of things happening that businesses are looking. So now is definitely the time still to make sure that you are getting out there, you're doing all the marketing and all the things.
Right.
Because I can tell you, like, I started my business in June, and I was able to leave my full-time job, and now this was 2019, by November. So I mean, that time period, which is what we're in right now, was great because I was marketing, I was putting myself out there and all the things.
Sure.
So you definitely want to make sure that you're just getting out there, you're talking to people and doing all of that for sure.
Yep.
So who else, Brad's kind of started the conversation that this is what we're going to talk about today. Anyway, who else feels like they're kind of in that same boat that you need clients, you don't even know where to begin and all of the things? Feel free to drop it in the chat. Okay, and let me, okay, so we have several people, you need clients, you need to know where to start. Okay, so yeah, we're going to kind of talk about all of those things today. Where to start, how to market, and all the things. So one thing that you definitely want to figure out is kind of figure out what way do you want to market, and know that there are several different ways to market your business and stuff like that. A lot of people, because a lot of us want to work virtually, social media is the way that they choose. That's not the only answer, so do know that. You can do in-person networking groups. And when I say in-person networking groups, yes, BNI is one of those, but there's other in-person networking groups and stuff that you can do. You have all the social media options. So you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have TikTok, you have LinkedIn. There's other platforms like Upwork and stuff like that that you can get on and market and stuff as well. You can do email marketing. There's so many different ways to market your business. And I would definitely suggest doing multiple, and whatever that looks like for you. So if you are like, hey, I really want to do social media, I would get really good at one social media platform and then do some other type of marketing as well. So when I started my business, I was doing social media and I was doing some in-person networking. And maybe for you, it's, I just want to be strictly virtual. So maybe it's email marketing and maybe it's social media. So just kind of, and you can even do, and when I say in-person networking, you could do now, there's a lot of the BNI groups that are virtual. There's other virtual networking groups that you can join and stuff like that. So those things would kind of count in a sense of, I'm saying in person, but you're still making those connections, you're having those conversations, and you're doing that sort of thing. So you really want to make sure that you are having conversations with people. So we had quite a few of y'all say you're looking for clients, you need clients, but you don't know where to start. So tell me a little bit about, like, have y'all started doing anything? What are y'all leaning towards? I know we have a couple of people on here who have asked like very Facebook specific questions. So I'm willing to like dive in deep to that with y'all, if that's something a lot of people seem to be interested in, going that route. And I definitely want to give y'all a plan And a lot of this, when I say Facebook, it can be used on any of the social media platforms. So whether you're doing Instagram, whether you're doing LinkedIn, any of those things. So just drop in the chat what y'all have tried or what y'all are leaning toward. One thing that would definitely keep in mind is if you have a niche, if you're thinking of niching down, where are these people at? And when I say niching down, like I had a very specific niche in the beginning of my business, like this is what I'm going for. And then after it kind of more like if you ask me now, I'd probably say local businesses was my niche if I had to say something, just because I did a lot of in-person networking. And that's who majority of my clients are. Is it who all of them are? No, I have clients all over the United States. They're not just local to me. So let's see. I just finished certifications. I'm ready, hungry to learn social media, buying leads. Heck, I will walk into businesses following your lead coach. Okay. Instagram, Facebook groups, alignable. Okay. So I will make this comment, especially Brad was kind of telling us a little bit about his experience with buying leads and stuff. You definitely do not have to buy leads. There are so many ways to make connections, and to get potential clients, to have conversation with potential clients without having to buy leads. So I do like the idea of walking into businesses. Some of you have heard me tell this story before. When I first started my business, somebody that was starting her business at the same time, she was going, I'm going to say door to door, but went in a shopping center and just walked, handing out business cards, introducing herself. And one of the businesses that she walked into was another bookkeeping firm. She left the business card. The business owner wasn't in whatever at the time. He later called her back and told her that he had decided he was going a different route with his business. He was only going to start accepting clients who were, I want to say it was like $1,500 a month or more. So he had a bunch of smaller clients that he was looking to offload. He gave her 30 clients from just that one interaction. So you never know what kind of who you're going to meet, especially when you build those in-person connections. One thing we have to remember is doing what we're doing, we're handling people's finances, you're looking at people's money. You have to build that know, like, and trust factor. So you definitely want to make sure that's why it's so important to, whether it's social media, whether it's in person, whatever, you want to make sure people are seeing you and getting to know you as well. So not only are we just marketing, hey, I'm a bookkeeper, I'm accepting clients now, but you want to kind of build those relationships and stuff too. So let's see. So we have the Instagram, Facebook groups and alignable. I want to focus on Instagram and Facebook, but have a fear of walking. I have no fear of walking into businesses as being part of my marketing soon. How do you sell yourself or convince them to buy when you haven't had any clients yet? Do you do the first for free or low cost investment for future clients? I will answer that question in a second. I received my LLC and opened a bank account. I'm lost on the actual process of acquiring small business clients. Okay, so I'll definitely go into all of that. So one thing I didn't have experience whenever I first started. I did not do clients for free. Did I charge what I should have charged from day one? Probably not. Just because you kind of learn and you grow, and you're trying to figure it all out. We have a quoting calculator for y'all, like set up as a freebie, so y'all don't even have to worry about that. You can make sure you're charging a good price from day one. So we've kind of taken that guesswork out, but you just want to have, somebody told me this at the very beginning of my business, is you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So if whoever's meant to be your client, they're meant to be your client regardless of what you say to them and how that interaction goes. So you want to make sure that as far as that goes, like I kind of went into every conversation after that on like, what can I learn from this conversation and what can I bring out of it? Because no matter what I'm going to say, either they're my client or they're not my client, I can't control it. It's kind of how I tried to look at it. And the more questions you ask and stuff, the easier you kind of have control of the conversation and it helps you feel a little bit more confident. But confidence is definitely going to be one of those things that the more you do it, the more you talk about it like a muscle, the more you exercise, the easier it gets. That's going to be the same thing. So you have to just get out there. You have to talk to people. You have to have the conversations. You have to do all the things. And again, everybody started at the place you're at. Even if it was a family business that now they own, they still at some point didn't know everything about their business. So a lot of business owners are super understanding about that in the beginning if you're just open and you're honest about it. So I've always just been, if I didn't know an answer, I'm like, you just tell them I don't know that answer right off, but I have a network of bookkeepers that I'm going to reach out to, and I'm going to ask, because even still 6 years in, sometimes there are things that come up that I don't know the answer to the questions, or maybe it's an industry that I've never worked in, or it's a state that I've never worked with, and it's a specific like tax issue or something along those lines. There's always stuff that comes up still that it's like I may not know the answer to. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to know everything, and everybody didn't know everything whenever they first started their business either. Okay, so and you received your LLC, opened a bank account, and you're lost in the actual process of acquiring small business clients. The way you're going to do that is like you have to just get out and talk to people. So we need to figure out, how do you want to get out and market? How do you want to get out and get clients? All of those things. So a lot of you have said Facebook, Instagram, Alignable is some of the comments that we've got in here. So if that, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm interested with other people that are on Alignable, because I do a lot of Alignables as well.
Okay.
But I've made more connections for various, I would say, categories of people. Some are, just I've met a multiple amount of people, but I haven't gotten anything from it. I've not gotten a client from it. And I'm wondering, is there anybody else that's in the chat now that has acquired clients from Alignable?
So I can tell you, one toward the beginning of my business, it was like a cleanup job, a one-time thing on there. I do think it's changed a lot since then, though, the way it is. I think it's great to learn how to network and to learn how to have conversations with people, because there's tons of groups that you can get on in meetings and things like that. So you can get the practice, but I think a lot of people are there to sell to you as well. Is part of the issue. And again, I think that's kind of just how I started pre-COVID, and then now obviously we all know this and we've seen this. COVID happened, everybody has virtual businesses or is trying to work from home and or get these businesses off the ground, or whatever the case is, over the last 5 years or so. So I think a lot of like LinkedIn, Alignable, they're there for those same reasons. That's not to say there's not people there who genuinely do need a bookkeeper or whatever the other service could be. Because you do have those people, but you just got to weed through some of that, if that makes sense, to find who your actual people are.
Okay. Yeah, I like I said, it's fabulous for meeting people.
Correct.
And I can see what you're saying as far as practice of meeting people. That's probably a good idea. It's not that's not a problem I have, but yeah, I can see that, and like I said, meeting people. So.
But yeah, some of the people, like just in the comments, who have made the comment about like, how do you have these conversations and things like that. how do you get started acquiring small businesses and stuff? Yeah, Alignable would be great to get that practice and start gaining some of that confidence, because it
Right.
does help you in some of those community groups and things like that, to do those sort of things. So yeah. Uh, Thomas, as far as what sites, again, it kind of depends on you and what you know, and what you're willing to learn. Because there's some people who are like, I'm not doing Facebook. They're totally against it. They only want to do like LinkedIn or whatever. And again, it also depends on who is do you have a niche, or are you just open to anybody as far as business wise? Because let's say, like, if you're looking for interior design, cosmetology, something along those lines, they're probably more so on like Instagram than what they might be on Facebook. So you kind of want to think about it from that standpoint. If you're just open, I think Facebook is a really great um, place to start. For me, I started there because I kind of knew it. So it was easy for me to dive in and to really take advantage of everything that you can do on it. Um, yeah, you figure you'd be open to all niche later when you find what you enjoy. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. There's a lot of people who are like, you need to start with a niche. So yeah, totally up to you. Um, but yeah, so I would highly suggest, like, if you're open to Facebook, I would highly suggest Facebook, because even like, let's say Alignable, LinkedIn, like any of those places, if you're going to these in-person networking groups, or door-to-door meeting business owners and stuff, go send them a friend request on Facebook after. If you're doing some marketing and stuff there, they're going to start to see you more. So you're kind of touching them, having those touch points from a couple of different areas. Or if you're doing email marketing, they're getting the emails from you as well. And then they're seeing your posts on Facebook. They're seeing you at in-person networking groups and all of those things. Um, okay, so let's talk. Erica's got a great question. Do you recommend Facebook groups or just posting on your feed? Let's talk about Facebook a little bit. Um, for me, I would do all of the things. So I use my personal Facebook page, my business Facebook page, and have used Facebook groups. I will tell you, from the time I started to how it is now, it is a little bit easier to use your business page to be able to interact with people and stuff like that. Before, you couldn't really send requests, you couldn't comment from your business page on their posts, things like that. Now you can, because Facebook's made some changes. Um, I use my personal page and my business page, and I make sure that I'm posting the business stuff on there. Facebook groups, you do have to be very careful. There's tons of Facebook groups to use, and there's tons of ways to use Facebook groups. But you do have to be careful, because some of them do have rules on when you can market your business. Can you market your business? Some of them don't want you marketing your business at all. They're set up for other reasons. So there's different ways to use them. If it's let's say you go whatever town you're in and you search small business in your town on Facebook and you find some groups in that area. Look at the rules that are for that group and just make sure you follow whatever those rules are. Some of them are like Marketing Monday. So every Monday you can make a post and market your business. Perfect. Go in there and do that. But make sure that you're having conversations with people, you're interacting with the people that are in the groups, the ones that are making the post. A lot of times it's great to become friends with the admins and stuff in the groups as well, because if they're going to start to tag you as they get to know you, and you become an expert to them a lot of times as well. So make sure, so that's one way to do it. There's other groups, like some of them will be like, I live in Louisiana, so I'm in Ascension. What's going on in Ascension is one of our like neighborhood groups. If you go in there, there's a lot of businesses that are asking, who's a bookkeeper? I'm not businesses, individuals. Who do you know that's a bookkeeper? Or I'm looking for a plumber, or I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. When you see those posts, they're tagging the business owners. So that's letting you know, like, hey, there's a lot of business owners and stuff in these groups. So you can utilize the groups in several different ways, but make sure that you're forming the relationships and stuff with the clients. Let's see. At my day job, I ask patients what else they're doing today and this weekend. Sometimes they will reciprocate and I say I'm working on my side hustle, they usually ask what that is. A couple of weeks ago, a guy has just started his own accounting firm. We exchange cards. We follow each other on Instagram. I don't know how I'll follow up with his comment that he acquired a client who may need a bookkeeper for smaller clients. He told you he has a client who may need a bookkeeper for smaller clients. I mean, if that's something you're open to, I would just tell him you would love the connection. If that, I mean, I'm assuming that that's what he was insinuating, like, hey, yeah, let's connect on it, or send them my contact information or something along those lines. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about one thing you want to make sure that as you're doing, like, and I'm saying Facebook, but if you're doing Facebook, if that's the social media platform you choose to go with, if it's Instagram, if it's LinkedIn, whatever platform, you want to make sure that you have all of your stuff very obvious that you're a bookkeeper, that it's easy for them to get your contact information or send you a message on Facebook or whatever platform. Your email address is there, that they know you're a bookkeeper, anything like that. You want them to be able to reach out to you and there's no guessing on that. You also want to make sure that you're keeping the pages and stuff updated. So if you set up your business page and you're using your personal page, make sure you're posting on your business page periodically as well. Because if you set it up and then like 2 years from now, somebody goes to your page and there's no post, they're going to think, is this business actually active? So you want to make sure you're doing that. I want to give y'all a couple of things. So one thing that I did, because somebody made the comment about posting every day or posting and going in groups. So when we're talking posting, I'm going to tell y'all, I was posting anywhere at the very beginning of my business, anywhere from 5 to 10 times a day. So multiple posts, because you want to make sure that you are incorporating business, personal, anything that the people that you want to attract and do business with are gonna interact with. Because let's be honest, if you go look at my Facebook page, a lot of the business posts, that's not where people are liking and commenting. Some of them are, and some of them are y'all, like you're liking the business posts. But most of it is more so the personal posts and stuff. So personal posts, anything that's going to get engagement. So you made the comment, Celeste, that you asked people what are their plans for the rest of the day or the weekend. You could make posts like that on Facebook, because that's what people are going to comment, because they want to tell you, they want to have those conversations. So you want to get people engaging and having conversations. You also want to make sure you're engaging with them. So as you send like friend requests out and stuff, you want to go to their page and interact with their stuff, because then they start to see your posts and stuff more. So that goes like all the different ways. One thing that I did is I set up every single day a different like topic. What am I going to post about today? Just because that made it a little bit easier. Again, that was just one of the posts, because some of the other posts would be like, here's a motivational quote that I'm going to share, or here's a picture of my daughter that I'm going to share, or whatever. So that kind of stuff was incorporated, but you have like your one main post. And for some of you, if you haven't been posting at all, one post a day is going to be a lot and going to be a huge start for you. So that would definitely be the first step that you want to do. So the way I did it, and y'all don't have to do these same exact topics or anything like that. Do what feels good to you. Do what is going to attract the type of people that you want to do business with, because I've always been the person who's posting motivational stuff. I'm doing the mindset calls in the group. I'm doing that kind of stuff, but that's my personality. That's just who I am. That may not be you. So don't feel like you have to copy or do what I'm doing. Figure out your own things, but this is what I did just to kind of give y'all an example. So like Mondays, motivational Monday. So some type of motivational quote for business owners that they help them get through the week kind of thing. Tuesdays are always like a tax tip Tuesday. What's some type of bookkeeping related tax tip? So mileage, track of your receipts, stuff like that. Anything like that that you can provide some type of tip, some type of value that you can provide in a post to give to the business owners. And y'all, this is going to go on your personal page, your business page. If the groups allow it, you can definitely post it in the groups and stuff as well. Wednesdays. I usually did like a wellness Wednesday. So that would be like, don't forget to go for a walk today or something along those lines. Put your phone down, turn it off, like things like that, that us as business owners, that's the thing that we forget about because we always put ourselves last because we're working on the business, we're working on our client stuff, those types of things. So that was Wednesdays for me. Thursdays was just strictly a marketing type post. And what do I mean by that? Like, hey, do you need a bookkeeper or your book's a mess? Stuff like that. Testimony, you could tell a testimony from a client if you've had clients, if you've helped clients. And it could just be like somebody reached out to you today and their income was duplicated. And you just kind of tell that story. So that way other business owners are relating to that story. And then Fridays, I always did like a funny Friday thing. So funny Friday funnies, like some kind of joke. If you go on, you can use ChatGPT now. ChatGPT will help you come up with some posts and topics and stuff. When I first started, I was using Pinterest a lot, getting on Pinterest, typing in tax tips, bookkeeping jokes, bookkeeping memes, things like that. And it would come up with like some pictures and stuff. So you can make graphics. You can do it in Canva. You could use what's already there made for you in Pinterest. Those types of things. You just want to make sure that it's not something that has somebody else's business name or anything like that on it, because then you're kind of advertising for them. So you just want to be careful from that standpoint. But that kind of helped me know, okay, this is my main post for the day. And I know that this is business related, that post. Because every time that was either I had a graphic made that had my business logo on it, so like with the motivational quotes, or I would tag my business in the post. So it would say Megan Davis is at Harvest Books, whatever. So that way as they're scrolling, they're seeing these posts. And I had several people reach out to me and say like, hey, I love your post, stuff like that. So it was making the connections with people who I had a similar personality with and those types of things. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as you're doing this. So if you're a dog person, maybe it's a bunch of dog pictures and stuff that you're posting because you want to attract those types of people. So yeah, so keep that in mind. And then let's talk a little bit about like getting a 7-day plan together and what that's going to look like for you. One, we kind of talked about figuring out where you're going to do this at. So some people are totally against social media altogether. So if you want to just do in person, you need to get a plan together to do in person. But I would also do whether it's email marketing. So start getting an email list together. Get on LinkedIn, do Upwork, do some other type of networking along with that. Is there anybody, let me ask y'all this, is there anybody in here, because I think a lot of people, the conversations that I've had recently is people wanting to do social media more so. Is there anybody in here who's doing strictly in person? And that'll help me like figure out how we can word this. If everybody's doing social media of some type, that works. Okay. Y'all can drop that in the comments. So every one of these things that I'm going to tell y'all, this is going to be, you want to start every day. Start one of these things, like we're going to add to it every day. So this is going to build on each other. So day one, today, let's get clear on what your message is to your people. So example, I help small construction businesses keep their books clean so they can save on taxes and stress less. So whatever that looks like for you, and I'm saying you don't necessarily have to niche. You don't necessarily have to niche down whenever when I'm saying that. Um, it can be like service-based businesses, it could be local businesses or the people that you're talking to, anything along those lines. Because I did at one point just say like I'm just working with service-based businesses. Because then you don't have to deal with inventory, all those things. Um, okay, so some of you haven't just finished QBO training yesterday. I want to do more in person, just not sure how to go about it. Okay, so if you're wanting to do more in person, I will tell you this. The way I found a lot of the in person groups was got on Facebook and asked the question, where are some local in person groups that I can go to and do some networking? So just have that conversation with people. The BNI groups that are local, you can go to Business Networking International website and see if there's any of those local to you. Look up your local Chamber of Commerce website. They have those things on their website that you can find out where their meetings are and stuff like that. But a lot of the in-person groups, they want to bring visitors. They want you to come. So people are going to be raising their hand, telling you, trying to invite you to their groups and all of the things. So ask the questions. Again, you can get in like your local neighborhood groups. You can just post it on your personal page, those types of things. I would get a lot of that scheduled. I would also make a plan of just going to, so like with the holidays coming up and everything, there's going to be a lot of vendor events. There's going to be a lot of trunk or treats, stuff like that. We have a trunk or treat that is strictly small businesses around that it started 6 years ago and I've been doing it ever since. So you set up, you advertise your business and you hand out candy to the kids. Well, most of my clients or ideal clients are the other businesses that are set up. So that's perfect opportunity for you to go and hand out business cards to those people that are at the whether it's a vendor event, anywhere that there's small businesses at, to be able to go and have those conversations. And a lot of times just introducing yourself, telling them who they are, asking or telling them who you are, asking them the questions about themselves and their business. They want to know the same thing about you. So you just want to build those relationships. In person is going to be a lot about building relationships. So just know that. But I would get a plan together for that, just like we're doing with this with social media. So I'm going to give y'all like a 7-day thing. So kind of do the same thing for that. So like your day one, you still want to get clear on your messaging. And you want to get clear, like start asking those questions in the group, Facebook, social media, trying to plan out and figure out when can you go to some of these in-person groups. So maybe it's you find one or two a week that you can go to. What are you doing some of those other days? I'm going to tell also when you're going to these in-person groups, make sure you're collecting business cards because then you can add them on social media. You can add them to an email marketing list. You can add them to any of those places because then you're going to have that next touch point of your marketing because you do want to reach out, stay in contact with them. So even if it's just sending them an email like, hey, it was great to meet you at blah, blah, blah event today. I would love to stay in contact. And then kind of at least you've made that next touch point and you can add them to an email list, follow up with them periodically. A lot of times you'll start to see them at other vendor events and things like that as well. Because I built a lot of relationships in the beginning by showing up and going to events. And then I've added them on social media and some of it takes, they may not know anybody right away, but they remember who you are. And when somebody says they're looking for a bookkeeper, they're going to say, oh yeah, so-and-so's a bookkeeper. I made this connection with her, and so forth. So keep that in mind when you're talking in person as we're going through this. So day one, we want to get clear on what our messaging is. Day two, we want to post with intention. So just like I said, figure out what your posts are for, I went through 5 days, but you want to try to post every day. If you want to take the weekends off, whatever, that's totally understandable, but at least your 5 days and try to do multiple times a day, but at least have one good post. You also want to make sure that you have some type of call to action. And what do I mean when I call to action? You want to tell them to DM you if they're looking for help. If this is you and you're having this issue, send me a message, or however you want them to reach out to you. Maybe it's a comment and then you're going to reach out to them from that. But whatever that looks like for you. So some type of call to action. So comment me or help me or whatever below if you relate to this or you're looking for help with your bookkeeping or whatever the case may be. So you want to think about it from that standpoint. So that'll be day 2. So again, as your days go on, we're going to kind of build on each other. So day 3, we're going to do another post, which was day 2. And now we want to start to DM people or comment on posts from people in your network. And when I say in your network, these are be business owners that you're like, hey, I really would love to do business with them someday, or I think they have some really great connections. I would love to connect with them. So it could, again, DMs, if you want to DM, some people are like totally against DMing. So comments on their posts would be great as well. So what do I mean by comments? If you send, let's say I want to send Brad a friend request because I want to connect with him and do his bookkeeping one day. So I'm going to send Brad a friend request. I'm going to go to his page. I'm going to look at some of his posts and I'm going to start to comment on his posts and start to have conversations. But you want to do that with at least 10 different people. So you want to try to have conversations. This could also be some of the people in the groups. So if you're trying to do a lot of Facebook groups, alignable groups, LinkedIn groups, wherever, if you're doing the groups, if somebody is in there and they comment, it could be a marketing question, but you know an answer to it, or you've been struggling with the same thing. So you're just going to comment because you relate to them on that perspective. It could be that they're commenting, they're asking a bookkeeping or a tax question and you know the answer to it. Give them the answer. It could be any of those types of things that you're giving comments to, or it could just be like, hey, they posted a picture of their family and you're just like, and you make a comment about that. Oh, we love going to that place, or we do that every weekend as well, or something along those lines. So, so every day now we're going to start making a post and we're going to DM or comment on 10 to 10 different people every day. Because that's how you're going to start to build those relationships. Day 4, your post, let's share a story. This one, we're not going to necessarily do this every single day, but you do want to work this in. So share a client win or a personal story. So post about how bookkeeping can bring peace of mind, saves money, reduces stress. If you don't have any clients yet, you could share your why for why you started your business, why you feel bookkeeping is so important to you. What are some of the things that potential clients have came to you about? What are you seeing business owners struggle with, and those types of things. So kind of think about it from that standpoint, but you do want to start to work some of those in. Those tend to be what is that? Those tend to be the posts that I get the most response from, is ones that people can really relate to. So the stories that they're like, oh yeah, I'm struggling with that same exact thing. Whether it's I paid too much in taxes or because their income's duplicated or whatever the case is. And then you want to start sending day 5, we're going to start sending some direct invites. So let's send some private messages out. And this could be, hey, I just opened up like 2 spots for bookkeeping clients this month. Do you know anybody who might be interested in getting help with their bookkeeping? So this can be some of the clients. I mean, some of the people that, like, if you've done in-person networking, anything like that, if you have clients currently, let them know that you're accepting more clients. Sometimes they don't realize that we are. They think that you're full, you don't have enough capacity at the moment. So you have to ask the question, you have to tell them like, hey, I am looking for more clients. It could be, you could make a post, you can do this in DMs, you can do this in groups, you can send this in emails. So it just kind of depends on how you want to do that. and let them know that. And then one of your days, you want to make sure that it's, like I said earlier, you're kind of doing some type of an educational post. Um, so is there some type of like mileage tracking, keeping their personal and business expenses separate? That's a huge thing, that some business owners really do not realize. Some, like, we take it for granted because we're a bookkeeper that everybody knows that, but there really are some that have no idea. They started building houses or whatever they started doing and just got so caught up in like making money and never even thought about those things and have no idea some of the things that we take for granted and we feel like business owners should know is not. Yeah, and let's see, we got a comment here, Cameron. Yeah, and also not using a lot of accounting jargon. Really want to post like a fifth grade level. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I have had so many people, and y'all, like, kind of funny in a sense because I do not have an accounting background. So a lot, like, I've learned and stuff, but I've talked to a lot of clients. So I've picked up on like and paid attention to a lot of what they're saying. So I try to use their terminology. And a lot of it, if you talk to somebody with an accounting degree or you talk to a CPA, sometimes they're just talking like totally over your head because they're talking in debits and credits and assets and liabilities and all these things. And that's great because they know all of that really well and all the things. But if you talk to just the everyday client, they don't know what that means. They don't even care a lot of times. They want to know, am I making money? Am I losing money? Can you tell me what my expenses are? That's what they care about. So I've had a lot of clients, potential clients, stuff like that, who've signed up with me because they're like, I can actually understand what you're saying. You explain it how I understand it. So that's a huge thing to remember, to kind of make sure that you're speaking in the language that your clients can relate to. Sometimes you're going to come across clients who maybe this person has an accounting background, but then they started a real estate business, like investing in real estate or whatever the case is. And that person knows it. But sometimes when you hear these clients throw in terms around, it's just because they heard somebody else say it. It's not because they truly know what that means or how that affects their business or anything like that. Some of them are like, oh, so and so told me this something, and but they have no idea what it truly means or how that affects their business or anything along those lines. And you do run into that a lot, especially when you have like anybody who's in a lot of networking groups and stuff. So like photographers, a lot of times they're in masterminds and stuff, and they hear one person say this and they think it applies to everybody and all their businesses and all the things. And that's not always the case, where every business is set up differently. Like this person might need to be on payroll, whereas this business is set up different and it doesn't need to be on payroll. So it's just different things along those lines. So yeah, the fifth grade level is a great suggestion. Dumb it down to where they can understand it. I think that's super important as you're having the conversations with people. Is paying attention to the language that they're using. What are they relating to? Does it feel like you're just talking over their head when you're saying some of this stuff? And just listen to how they're saying stuff to you. I think that's super important. So yeah, the tips and like personal expenses, business expenses, like keeping that separated, why that's so important, mileage tracking, why is that so important? Like give them some examples, like what is this year's mileage? How can that add up for them? Keeping business and personal expenses separated. Why is that so important? Tell them that, but tell it in a like Cameron said, in a language that they're going to understand, because not everybody has an accounting degree or understands debits and credits and what any of that even means. So another thing, so day 7, we want to try to go live or do a story. And this is going to be video type stuff. Some of you, it's going to take a little bit longer to feel comfortable in doing this. If it's something that you can do every day, that's great. But if we're doing just social media and we're not doing in person, it takes a lot longer for people to build that know, like, and trust factor with you. So if you do a story, the stories on your Facebook, on your Instagram, those show up and they're gone in 24 hours. So keep that in mind. If you're doing a live, you can get on there live. They're disappearing in 30 days, I think now, on Facebook. You can do reels and keep it, I think they're 90 seconds now is the time limit on like Facebook. So you can get on there and in a minute and a half or a minute, however long you want to get on there, and state some facts, or talk to them. So using that as one of your posts that you're doing throughout the week. You can do it on a daily basis. The more you do it, the more you're building that know, like, and trust factor. But you do have to feel comfortable and confident in doing it to show up and do it. That's going to be one of the things that you really want to make sure that as you go through, figuring out what this journey is going to look like for you in marketing, this has to be something that you enjoy doing, something that you're going to show up and do. If it's something you're like, I cannot, going to in-person groups gives me so much anxiety, I cannot stand doing it, you're not going to show up and you're not going to do it. If Facebook makes you feel that way, you're not going to show up and you're not going to do it. You're not going to love every type of marketing. You may not love any type of marketing, but it has to be the thing that is the least resistant to you. So what is that thing? How can you show up and do that? Maybe it's maybe Facebook is that thing, and you don't want to do that, but you're perfectly okay with hopping on Zooms, having conversations, doing networking that way. Do it. Find places you can do that. Have those conversations with people, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to get you clients, is the more conversations that you have. You have to ask the questions. You have to have the conversations. You have to make sure people know that you are looking for clients, whether it's in person, social media, wherever. You want to make sure you show up and you ask those questions, or tell them like, hey, I'm looking for clients. Ask them, do they need help with this? Those types of things. So showing up as an expert, whether it's on social media, if you're doing some in-person, you can, like BNI groups, you have like a spill that you can do at the beginning of the groups. There's other in-person networking groups that you can go to and that you can do trainings at and stuff. We've had tons of people in our program that have done that. They go to these in-person groups, they do trainings. It could be on like how to use QuickBooks. It can be like some missed tax deductions. Some of you, if you're brand new starting out, you may not feel comfortable doing that yet, and that's okay. So you just want to like talk and be able to do a spill really quickly. You also want to make sure that you're telling some stories, not just doing strictly facts on Facebook. Facts are great, but the stories is what really get people connecting with you and connecting with that story, because they're like, man, that's my problem too. I'm spending the entire weekend now working on trying to get my bookkeeping done because during the week I'm focusing on my business, or whatever the case is. So you want to make sure you're telling some relatable stories that people can connect with you on. And that's what's really going to help them. And again, mix some business and personal, because you want to make sure that people are interacting. They may not interact with the business posts all the time, but they're going to interact with that other stuff. So whether it's engagement type posts, what are you doing this weekend? What's your favorite vacation spot? Different things like that, are going to get people to raise their hand and comment. You also want to make sure that, so sprinkle that in with your business post. When you're showing value, we want to make sure that we're not like essentially lecturing people. We're not, so do it from like a compassionate standpoint. Like, let's get this taken care of before it is a nightmare. So don't be hard and come off the wrong way when you're doing that. Don't forget your calls to action, when you're doing this, and make sure you're being consistent when you're posting. That's going to be the biggest thing in any of your marketing, is to be consistent. Let's see. If I choose to pay for online advertising, what is considered the best? Facebook, Yelp, Nationwide. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. As far as like paying somebody to advertise, that's not something I've ever done. Um, and I say that we've done it for like this group. We've done some Facebook ads and things along those lines. A lot of those things, I would probably say Facebook before Yelp, or maybe even like Google ads before any of those things. I tried to do some Facebook ads toward the beginning of my business, with some help. we spent hundreds of dollars on Facebook ads, and I think I had one person come. And it's just Facebook algorithm, the wording has to be perfect. You have to have somebody who really knows how to set all the standards and stuff, what's the audience you're trying to reach, who's the top, what's the topics they're searching online, those different types of things. I would say like genuinely just doing the marketing yourself has been the best. What I've seen, I've gotten the best results from. I've even like paid people to go make posts for me and stuff, but if it's not coming from my wording, my personality, I find I don't have as good of results from it. But I do think you would be better doing that versus paying for leads if you're trying to pay for something. But you want to make sure that you're building relationships in this business is the biggest thing. Because you're looking at people's finances, you're seeing their bank statements and those types of things. So it's a little bit different than other types of businesses. And it's also, it's not everybody that owns a business when you're doing Facebook ads and things like that. So if you are going to do Facebook ads, Google ads, I would try to find somebody who has experience in and can show you results that they've done for like a bookkeeper or an accountant or something along those lines. And I do not know that's not to say they're not out there, but I don't know a name to give you to say, hey, this is a good company to go use or anything like that. But I would say probably Google ads would be and honestly, especially if you're trying to do nationwide, I would probably more so just try to, are you totally against doing marketing yourself, or you're just trying to like do it a little bit quicker? Y'all, if you have any comment, I mean,
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to add, additional means
Okay.
of getting out there. I'm doing things myself as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, then I would probably, if like I said, there may be somebody out there who's bookkeeper or accountant specific. That's what I would look for if you decide to go one of those routes. Um, but I would probably say either, yeah, Facebook or Google ads. Yelp, I have not heard too many good things recently about people who've tried to use Yelp. That's not to say that it's not possible, but that's just been what I've heard, and not even from like bookkeepers, but like clients that I've worked with, their experience from that standpoint. If anybody else has any questions, y'all feel free to drop them in the chat. But that kind of gives y'all like a 7-day plan on marketing. The biggest thing is to be consistent, to make sure that you are showing up every single day. You have to have conversations. Somebody made the comment a few years back, and it's like we all get wrapped up in social media and like, I'm posting on Facebook, I'm not getting any results and whatever. Social media is called social media for a reason. You have to be social. You can't just go and post and think everybody's seeing your posts, because we all know the algorithm with Facebook, and that's not how it works. So you have to make sure you're being social, that you're having those conversations with people. When we go live, what should we talk about? Great question. So yeah, I'll review those 1 second. So if you go live, you can talk about, you can tell a story of a client win. You can give like different tips. Maybe it's use use a system like QuickBooks Online. Maybe it's giving QuickBooks Online tips. I would kind of get some kind of game plan together on whether it's like, hey, I want to go live once a week, and this week I'm going to talk about mileage or something, and let's talk about like what mileage looks like for business owners, like why it's important to track their mileage, how it can add up, what is the mileage deduction this year, what are some mileage apps that they could use, why is it, another topic could be, why is it so important to keep business and personal separate. Just remember these lives, the reels, things like that. It doesn't have to be long. I've done lives in the past. We do this live, obviously. But like for my bookkeeping business, But I found like more recently, Reels seem to be something that you got a little bit more traction on Facebook with than Lives. But Lives give people the opportunity to ask you a question live as well. So, but you can do those. If you do Reels, that's under 90 seconds. So you can keep those super short. So sometimes that feels a little bit more doable. And then when people are just sitting on the couch scrolling, a lot of times, what's the first thing you do? You start watching one video, and then here you are like an hour later, and now you've watched like hundreds of videos because you just got stuck in the scrolling and watching videos on Facebook or TikTok or wherever you're at. So that's kind of like a plus to like the reels and things like that. Whereas if it's a live, like these, we do these for an hour, like to benefit y'all and stuff. But sometimes like the business owner might not have however long you went live to go back and watch a replay, if that makes sense. So sometimes keeping them short is a good thing. Sometimes you want to do a little bit longer. So you can even rotate, do some lives, do some reels. So you don't have to necessarily just do lives though, know that. Okay, so 7-day plan. Let's go back over that again really quickly. Day 1, we want to get clear on our messaging. Day 2, we want to post with intention. Make sure you have their call to action. Day 3, start conversations. Day 4, share a client win or a personal story. Day 5 is a direct invite. So I've opened up 2 spots for bookkeeping clients this month, whether that's posts that you're making saying that, or you're sending messages. If you're going to send messages, you want to try to do 5 to 10 a day, or comments or whatever. Day 6, an educational type post. And day 7, a live or a story. When you're doing the stories are very short. But it can any type of video, something. And again, if you're not to that point yet, when you get to that point, you want to start incorporating some of that in. And again, some of these things you can build on each other. So if you're trying to do multiple posts a day, maybe you want to do a story every day. And your story every day could just be saying what, like reading what your post is, you know, it doesn't have to be like extremely detailed. Maybe today my story is I had a client who had overstated their income and they paid $20,000 in taxes. They came to me, I cleaned up the books, and now they ended up getting a refund instead of owing $20,000 in taxes. So that's my Facebook post for the day. And then that's a story that I'm just going to say that exact same thing in video form. And if this is you, if you feel like you're overpaying in taxes, comment me below or DM me today and let's have a conversation. So you just want to make sure that all your videos, all your posts, whatever, you're ending with something so they know they have permission to DM you, comment, email you, call you, whatever the case is, however you want them to reach out. All right, guys. So I know that was tons of information for y'all. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out. Feel free to post in the group, send us an email, whatever. If you need more like one-to-one help, we have one-to-ones. The bookkeeperblueprint.com, we have all of that information there. We have our program there. We offer individual one-to-ones as well. Awesome. Kim, I'm glad you were able to be on. Okay, awesome, y'all. I'm so glad this was helpful. Let us know if y'all have any questions. If y'all need more support with it, let us know that as well. And we will see y'all next week. Y'all have an awesome weekend.
Thank you, Megan.
You're
You
welcome.
do the same.
Thank you.
You
Bye.
bet. Take care.